Hi, Ben. My name is Angela, and my secret is that while trying to form a relationship with my mom at 15, the only thing she taught me was how to manipulate, steal, and melt down her crack. It's my backstory I can't tell people for obvious reasons.
Today, my guest Angela is here to reveal her eye-popping secret backstory that lies in stark contrast to the normal life she lives today. It's a story of escaping a terrible childhood and how a dead body in the bushes should have been a warning sign. Here we go. Hi, Angela, and welcome to The Secret Room.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome. We just heard your secret, and all I can say is, wow, and thank you for coming forward to share.
Of course. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. We had a really tough childhood.
Yeah, it was definitely difficult in some aspects, but I feel like when I think about it now, I don't really think that I would change too much because of my grandparents. They definitely saved me.
So you're saying things worked out?
Yes.
But your backstory is not something you can tell people because of how they would think of you.
Yeah, I have grown into like a professional, and it's just not really something that anybody would necessarily expect.
Yeah.
And in a world where, everybody judges you for everything, if I don't have to share it, I really don't.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Well, we'll get into it.
Okay.
How did your parents meet?
I'm not really sure. I think that they met in high school or they lived around each other.
Did they ever share what life was like before you came along?
They seem to have a fairly decent relationship based on the pictures that I've seen of them. They always seemed relatively happy and were, always hiking or being outside, and they seemed to really care about each other.
But they got divorced when you were very young.
Yes, I was 4 years old.
And why did they get divorced?
That isn't really known. I have this DVD that my mother actually sent me, and it has my first birthday, my baptism, and I was watching it actually recently. You can kind of see, like, my first birthday party, she is happy and very enthusiastic, and then by my second birthday and my third birthday, like, the life just kind of drains out of her, and she's not looking at the camera. She's just very disassociated.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And it's weird because I was sharing it with somebody, and he even said, like, you can tell, just by these short little clips that she just completely withdrew from family life. So yeah, they got divorced when I was 4, and she just kind of ran off to do whatever she did and left me with my dad.
Do you remember life with your parents before they divorced?
No, not at all.
Do you remember the divorce?
No, not at all.
So you don't really have a sense of how they were with you?
I have very little memories of being around my mom when I was young. And the only real memories that I can remember from my dad are when I was older.
Well, we'll get to that for sure. When they divorced, who got custody?
My dad took me because she just kind of left. From what I understand, she basically just vanished, essentially. Kind of like, I'm going to get toilet paper kind of things, and never showed back up.
Oh my goodness.
So I was with my dad, but then he, this was 1993. It's hard now being a single parent. Back then, it was probably 10 times harder. So I was saved by his parents, and, they took me in, and I saw him every weekend or whenever he would come over.
Okay, so you lived with your grandparents.
Yes.
And your father was still in your life, but your mom was nowhere to be seen.
She was nowhere to be found. She would pop up every once in a while. I remember one time I was at my dad's on the weekend, and she had called, and he's like, do you want to go to your mom's? And I was like, no, I want to stay here with you. But that is I think that's my earliest memory that I have of her.
What kinds of things would you and your father do?
Oh gosh, he was such an outdoorsy person. We would hike, we would fish, and he introduced me to my love of horseback riding. I love being outside now, and I'll thank him for that.
Okay. Do you know why he didn't take custody of you?
I think that he was probably struggling himself. You know, I remember him always working multiple jobs, so I think that my grandparents were just more stable. My grandfather had retired from the railroad, so he wasn't working at the time. My grandma was still working.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, family came together.
They did.
To take care of you, and you said your grandparents were great.
They were so amazing.
And your father was a presence in your life, and you had good times.
We did, yes.
Did he start seeing anybody new?
He did.
Who was that?
She was great. She had 3 kids. One was a little bit older than I was, and then the 2 of them were a little younger, and we got along great. We were always adventuring and, doing whatever we could find to do.
Did they get married?
They did not get married, no.
Did they get along well?
Yes. My dad took a lot of pictures of her. Like, you could tell just that he was head over heels for this woman.
Oh.
She was great. She treated me like I was her own. I never thought that they really had any issues.
Do you have any perspective on that as an adult now looking back?
I do. I think that he kind of maybe lost himself in the relationship a little bit and tried to do everything he could to please her and forgot about everything else. And maybe that's kind of what led to the demise. Yeah, he definitely tried to hold on to her, and I think it ruined him in the end.
Can you explain that a little more deeply? How was he ruined?
So I remember one night I was talking with my dad on the phone, and it was when those dollar gold coins had just come out, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And he's like, this weekend I'll give it to you. I don't know if there was supposed to be some kind of chore exchange or, whatnot, but I was really excited. And I remember being really excited to see him that weekend.
That's great. So you had something to look forward to for the weekend?
Yes.
How did it roll out?
Well, it didn't. The next morning, I remember I was laying in the hallway on the floor while my grandma was getting ready.
You were just laying in the hallway?
Just laying in the hallway, okay. Just watching
just
her.
The way kids do.
She was such and I always remember admiring her because she was always just dressed so beautifully with blouses and pearls, and she had this Chanel body powder that she would wear that just smelled like an old lady. But just watching her get ready was just so mesmerizing to me. But anyway, the phone rang, and my grandpa answered and said a few things, and then next thing I know, he's like, Jimmy didn't show up to work, and that's not like him, so let's go see, what's going on. This was before cell phones or, anything like that. So we all pile in the car, and we drive over, and my grandpa parks on the street, and he walks up to the front door, knocks, nobody answers, okay. Goes around the back, and
the terrible discovery that awaits Grandpa is next. I am looking for ways to simplify things so that I can reclaim some time in my life. One obvious target is food prep. That's why I have Home Chef deliver fresh, pre-portioned meals, which makes me feel organized and less stressed. And guess what? I am still well fed. And as I was exploring the Home Chef menu this morning planning my next order, I naturally clicked on Express Meals, to simplify things, and quickly found the weeknight garlic sesame chicken with boom boom broccoli. The picture looks delicious and prep time is 15 to 20 minutes. I also like the way Home Chef tags their meals with different categories that I find helpful. For example, this meal is calorie conscious, carb conscious, and protein packed. Count me in. And people really love Home Chef. It's rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and for recipe ease. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering you 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/secret. Home Chef makes cooking simple. Fresh food delivered, easy recipes to follow, and meals that actually taste great. You'll find these recipes across Home Chef's culinary collection, classic meal kits and express options, each designed to help you feel confident in your kitchen. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/secret. That's homechef.com/secret for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. You must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. The link is in the show notes. My phone is an important part of my life kit, and so are my hard-earned dollars. I need both in my life, but wireless just seems to want all the money for the service. I overpaid for wireless for years, and then I found Mint Mobile. They do not charge an arm and a leg for service, and yet they still provide the same great coverage and the same great speed as the big wireless companies. I want to thank Mint Mobile for supporting The Secret Room. Make the switch at mintmobile.com/secret. All their plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. And no, you're not going to have to give up your number, and no, you're not going to have to give up your phone. You can bring them both, activate in minutes, and start saving immediately. No long-term contracts and no hassle. Switching is easy. It just takes minutes. They have got it all figured out. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/secret. That's mintmobile.com/secret. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month gigabyte plan required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Do not miss this deal. mintmobile.com/secret. Check the show notes. And we continue as Grandpa goes around the back of the house, about to make a terrible discovery.
He saw him laying on the kitchen floor. He had shot himself.
Oh my God.
And I remember him running down the driveway, just screaming, somebody call 911. And he bangs on the neighbor's door and nobody answers. Bangs on the other neighbor's door. Nobody answers. Someone finally answers and calls 911. And I just remember it taking them so long to get there. And I think the only reason I really remember that is because once they finally got there, he was just so distraught and he's screaming, "You could have saved him. You could have saved him. What took you so long?" Because I don't actually think that he went into the house. I think he just saw that and he just freaked out.
This must have been terribly traumatic for you. You were 11 at the time?
I was 11 at the time, yeah.
I mean, it would be traumatic at any age.
Absolutely.
But terrible for a kid.
Yeah. It was pretty sad. It was hard.
I know that depression is very complex and can be just completely chemical, if that's the right term.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But was there anything that you were aware of that maybe might have been driving him to this point?
Yeah, so after all of that had happened, we found out that him and the woman had broken up. I think that my grandparents probably knew for a while that they had been separated. But I think ultimately that's probably, unfortunately, what caused that to happen.
Well, I'm so sorry for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess now you're officially the ward of your grandparents.
So we thought, because after that whole thing, my mother decided to come back and she just thought that, well, he's gone, so now it's my chance. Now I get her. But my grandparents were not about to let that happen. They fought tooth and nail for me.
And who won?
They won.
Okay.
Thankfully.
So meantime, you're going to school.
Yep.
How was school? Must have been hard to go face everybody.
It was. A lot of teachers and classmates even, they came to the funeral because my dad, my uncle, and I all went to the same Catholic school. So I had some of the same teachers that they both had. And then he also took like a maintenance janitorial position at that school for a while. So it was kind of embarrassing, but also sweet that sometimes I would go to school and open up my desk and there would be little notes from my dad after he would like sweep the floors or, shine them, especially at 11. I mean, what is that? That's 6th grade.
I imagine you received an outpouring of support, though.
I did to an extent, but I did unfortunately lose a lot of friends because growing up Catholic, I guess that's something that really shouldn't happen.
You okay?
I am good.
So how was high school?
It was okay. I wasn't a good student by any means. I never really got into trouble until I was a sophomore. And you're never going to guess who came around.
Gosh, was it your mom?
Oh, yeah. And by that time I was older, and she had been gone for a while. And I'm like, okay, maybe now's the time to try and have a relationship with this lady.
Okay, so you decided to let her back into your life.
I did, yeah.
And you're still living with your grandparents?
I was still living with my grandparents, yep.
How was life with your mom?
Oh, it was very interesting.
Okay.
I remember my grandma saying, you can do this, you can try and have a relationship. So much time has passed, you're entitled to having, or at least feeling it out. She's like, but don't trust her, that much. And I was, what is a sophomore? I don't know how old that is now, but I was still fairly young and, she let me do all the things that they didn't. She let my boyfriend sleep over and, it was okay to smoke weed and stay up and go on all of these crazy adventures. And I thought it was so awesome.
What kind of crazy adventures did you go on?
Well, she had lived in this little house who she rented from this man we called Uncle George. And looking back now, I'm pretty sure she met him while she was working on a street corner of some kind. He'd pick us up and he would take us on these long drives that we would call field trips, but it was really just driving her to get her drug of choice, which was crack.
Oh, gosh. Was this a surprise to you, or did you know your mom was up to this?
It kind of came as a surprise, but also not really. But at the time, I didn't care because I just wanted my mom. Like, I wanted this relationship with her.
Tell me about these field trips.
There would be times when we would be in the car for, I don't know, an hour each way just to go get her fix. And it was me, my mom, Uncle George, and my boyfriend at the time. And, we'd be smoking weed in the back and nobody would care. And she'd get whatever she needed. They would dump us back off at home. And then she'd be like, all right, I'm going to ride with him real quick. And I'm assuming they did some naughty, bad stuff as payment.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of them. There was one time that, he tried to keep her clean, I guess, and, was trying to not really support her addiction because he would say...
Oh, Uncle George?
Yeah, Uncle George.
But he was the one driving her on these field trips.
Exactly. But he would be like, Paula was her name. I'm not contributing this anymore, so don't ask me to take you because I'm not.
Okay. So
she would get so mad because she didn't drive, she didn't have a car. So there's one day she really just needed to get high. And she's like, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to gauze my eye, and I'm going to put ketchup on the gauze to make it look like I stabbed myself in the eye. And we're going to call Uncle George and tell him that we need to go to the emergency room because I stabbed myself in the eye. And I'm like, what the heck? Okay. Like, I'm just down for whatever at this point. Like, if that's what you want to do, I'll come along for the ride.
Wow.
So he picks us up and takes her to the emergency room, and she goes in and does whatever. Comes back out, and she's like, okay, they sent my prescriptions over to Walgreens. So we go to Walgreens, and I remember she's like, Angela, go ask the pharmacy for a prescription bag and like an empty bottle and just say you're on a scavenger hunt. So I'm like, okay. So I did this, and then we end up back, and somehow she had convinced him. After all of that, I think maybe he just felt so bad. She's like, will you please take me downtown? And he did.
Wow. So there was no prescription because obviously when they looked at her, they said, this is ketchup, ma'am, and your eye is fine.
Yeah. Or she just went in and like twiddled her thumbs in the waiting room for 20 minutes. Who knows with that woman?
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
That is very devious behavior.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. And so the pharmacy gave you a bottle?
They gave me a bottle and a prescription bag, yeah. Yep.
You'd think they would think something was up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she didn't go in because she was just in so much pain from her eye.
Of
so
course.
I think if they would have seen this woman come in smelling like ketchup with like, obvious not an issue, they would have been like, what the heck?
And so Uncle George then took you guys on another field trip?
He did.
Because
he took us downtown.
Under the assumption that the prescription meds were not enough.
Right. Yes, she really just needed that fix. So he would give in. He always, he tried to keep her on the straight and narrow. He was older. He was very, very nice, and he was married, but he was also, devious in his own ways. I mean, she was prostituting herself on a corner downtown, and he had picked her up.
The Dead Body in the Bushes is coming up. Stay with me.
Reaching your weight loss goals doesn't have to mean completely changing the way you live your life. What if you could make healthy progress with a treatment plan that included medication, access to 24/7 support, nutrition tips, and tools for tracking movement, hydration, and sleep, all personalized to go at your pace? That's weight loss by Hers. So if you've been struggling with your weight loss journey, it's time you find the best option that works for you through Hers. Visit forhers.com/secret to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. I think of Hers as a primary source for health and wellness because it offers just so much. Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to ongoing care, medication, and dosage adjustments as needed. And I know I can benefit from that. You can also turn to Hers for comprehensive, personalized health care to growing thicker hair and easing access to navigating menopause symptoms, even accessing convenient lab testing. Hers has you covered. And it's all right in one place. Waiting for a doctor's appointment can make me really disappointed, and those bad days can stack up. But Hers makes it easy to get help and get back on track quickly. Feel like your best self again. Visit forhers.com/secret to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's forhers.com/secret. forhers.com/secret. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Prescription required. See website for full details, important safety information, and restrictions. Check the show notes.
And we return as I ask Angela just how she learned that her mom had been a sex worker. How did you come by this information?
She told me. Yeah, she didn't really hide anything. at all.
I mean, this all must have been very shocking to you. I'm surprised that you wanted to, well, maybe not. I was going to say, I'm surprised that you wanted to continue a relationship with her, but she is your mom.
Yep, that is it. Looking back, I can't believe some of the stuff that I just, like, let go.
Yeah.
But like you said, it is, at the end of the day, it is your mom. And after, you know, not having that necessarily, like, actual mom, you know, you kind of just want to see what it's like and feel it out.
And you're a kid.
And I'm a kid.
Did your grandparents have any idea this stuff was going down?
They didn't know the extreme lengths, no. They knew that, you know, she'd let me smoke weed and let my boyfriend sleep over, but they didn't know anything else. And I think if they knew, they would have absolutely put an end to it, but they had no idea.
Well, this is just a nightmare scenario for a kid your age.
Yeah.
Was Uncle George the only man in your mom's life?
No, she had a handful of men. She had a long-term boyfriend, and he was just as bad as her, but in a different way. Tom was, he was an interesting character. Tom would do, like, these odd jobs. He would say that he was a maintenance or like utility worker for the local trailer park. And he'd go there and he would, like, prey on the elderly. He would say that he's here to fix whatever. And then he'd come home with purses and laptops and all this jewelry and just whatever he could steal from these elderly or just anybody silly enough to let him inside his home. So then, you know, we'd pile up in his Thunderbird. We didn't need Uncle George anymore at this point because we had Tom and his Thunderbird. So we'd pile in that and we'd go to the pawn shop and we'd get money and he'd take her downtown and then he'd take us to Walmart and he'd say, you guys have 10 minutes to put whatever you can in the cart and meet us right back here. And he would use the stolen credit cards or just money just to buy us junk. And
so what was the point? What did he do with all this junk?
The only thing that I remember ever getting that sticks in my head are these little frog, like, sticky things that you put on the bottom of your shower so you don't slip. It was just his way of buying our love, I guess, and being for us to like him. You know, and he would trade the jewelry at the pawn shop so he could support my mom's addiction. And I think eventually she turned him onto crack as well, because I can remember multiple times them getting high together. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, she was just a bad influence on everybody around. And
you said there was another colorful man in her life?
Yes, little man.
Little man. Tell me about Little Man.
And he was very little.
Okay.
He was probably like 5'3", so, you know, small for a guy, and skinny. And he drove this little Ford Ranger, and he was also a drug addict. But I remember specifically one time he came over and they got high, and then he fell asleep, and she said, "Let's go." And I'm like, I remember saying, "You don't have, 1, a license, or 2, we don't even have a car. What are you planning on doing?" So we hopped in little man's little Ranger and took off down to her drug dealer's house. And he lived in the straight bad area. So we're pulling up and we see all of these flashing lights at this Arby's, and there's cops, ambulances, everything that you could possibly imagine. And there was a dead man in the bushes.
What?
And instead of turning around and not subjecting her child to this, she tells the officers that she lives on that street and she needs to get home. So they move the barriers and they let us through. And this is all just so she could score some drugs.
Because her dealer was down that road?
because her dealer was down that road.
Well, the dead body in the bushes should have been a sign.
Exactly.
Well, this is just one traumatic event after another for you.
It is. It is. And yeah, very traumatic, especially looking back. When I think about it, I don't really remember having any type of weird feeling, which sounds kind of strange, but I don't ever remember there being like red flags going off, because I think that I was just so like infatuated with, being accepted by her, because she left. She left me when I was so young, and now she's back, and this is great.
Wow. So you've got your mom's love, and you're being incorporated into her lifestyle.
Yep.
And as far as you can tell, everything's pretty normal.
Yes.
And you said that she would do drugs directly in front of you?
Directly in front of me. She had no shame.
Would she do crack in front of you?
She absolutely would, yes. And it went as far as teaching me how to melt it down.
I mean, this is child abuse, of course.
Yes, it is.
Can you tell me how that worked?
So, I'm no professional, and I don't even really know if this is the proper way, but she would have me put the little rock in the spoon and hold it over the open flame with a little bit of water. And essentially what happens is the water pulls out all of the stuff that it's mixed with, or cut with, I guess they would say. So like any baking soda or whatever else they would put in it, which then it would make the crack more potent, I guess. So I would do that for her, and then she would smoke it in front of me. She never offered it to me.
Well, I was going to ask.
Yeah, thankfully, because who knows, what I would have done.
Why do you think she didn't offer you any?
I think that she was just too selfish, honestly.
She just wanted it all for herself.
She wanted it all for herself, yeah. But she would smoke it and she would get high, and then she would do these little things she would call perimeter checks around the house, where she would walk the entire inside, and just like we had those vertical blinds in the living room, and they were duct taped. The last blind that's on the wall would be duct taped so nobody could see in. She had the front door had one of those little windows super up top, so nobody could see in unless you're 9 feet tall. She had that cardboarded up. She was just a mess.
What did she do to fund her habit?
Tom funded her habit a lot, or she would just steal from random people. She stole so much from me.
She stole from you?
Oh, yeah. My grandparents had put me on their Discover card at one point, and she stole that and bought just the dumbest things. She bought a puzzle and...
A puzzle?
A puzzle. But what she would ultimately do is she would go buy cartons of cigarettes, and then she would go to the corner store by her drug dealer's house. They would buy the cartons of cigarettes off of her so that she could have cash to buy the drugs. My uncle had gotten me this VCR DVD player combo. She took that to the pawn shop. Anything she could get her hands on, she would take. And I want to say after those two incidents is kind of when it clicked in my head that this isn't right. She shouldn't be doing this to me. Of all people, you shouldn't be doing it to anybody, but especially not your child.
And how old were you when you had this epiphany?
I was a junior in high school.
What was your next move then?
Oh, gosh. Well, I kind of distanced myself from her. The boyfriend and I had broken up, so it wasn't really cool anymore, I guess. But Uncle George had actually died, and his wife sold the house, so she had to figure out where to go.
And how did your mom take that?
She was very upset. He kind of died like an awful way. He had a heart attack on the way to actually pick her up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I don't know if she was at a doctor's appointment or whatever, but he had dropped her off somewhere and then he was on his way to pick her up and he never showed. So she called his house and his wife answered and had no idea who this woman was. And so that started like a whole other thing. And yeah, so his wife, ultimately sold the house and she had nowhere to go. So she had to swindle her way into somebody else's life. And she did that with a man in New York.
Ahead, Grandma's secret prayer and the tragedy that befalls her.
I have been focusing on fine-tuning my wardrobe. I want pieces that are going to last and will also be versatile for my lifestyle. The thought of standing in a dressing room while trying to find stuff by myself is not very appealing to yours truly. So I turned to Daily Look to come to my rescue. Thanks to Daily Look, the #1 premium personal styling service for women, for sponsoring your favorite indie podcast that could. You've got to check this out. For 50% off your first order, head to dailylook.com and use code SECRETROOM. The magic behind Daily Look is that you get a real person to style your clothing picks in every box. And it's never a robot running an algorithm based on all those third-party cookies the web browser is tracking. Daily Look is leaving my cookies alone and focusing on my clothing desires. I took a comprehensive style quiz, so my stylist got to know my body type and what I wanted, and she handpicked 12 items to make sure I would be looking my best. And Daily Look is for almost everybody, from extra small to 3X and size 0 to 24, so you can rest assured that you'll be looking your best too. It's time to get your own personal stylist with Daily Look. Head to dailylook.com to take your style quiz and use code SECRETROOM for 50% off your first order. Once again, that's dailylook.com for 50% off, and make sure you use our promo code SECRETROOM so they know we sent you. One last time, dailylook.com and promo code SECRETROOM. Check the show notes for this offer.
I'd like to recommend a podcast that every listener of The Secret Room should know about. It's called The Night Owl, True Ghost Stories. And when you listen, you'll hear true ghost stories about haunted places, haunted people, and the mysteries that surround them. Join Stephen Bellew and his team as they investigate the paranormal, leaving no stone unturned. Haunted by his own childhood paranormal experience, Stephen brings you on his journey of discovery as he explores haunted places like comedy clubs, bars, houses, and even an ophthalmologist's office. And in a series about San Antonio's Hotel Havana, they investigate reports of a burning spirit, ghosts of children roaming the halls, and shadow figures waking up guests. Oh, I recommend this. You'll hear documented ghost stories, straight from the mouths of those who experience them. I'm impressed with how thoroughly they dig into the stories with research, skepticism, and interviews. Whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or simply love a great true ghost story, you'll love The Night Owl, True Ghost Stories. Are you ready to hear these fascinating tales of history and haunts? Find The Night Owl, True Ghost Stories anywhere you get your podcasts. And we are back for the final chapter of Angela's Secret. And who is this man in New York?
I don't know his name. I think I knew his name at one point, but they've somehow managed to be together this whole time. They're still together. So I can only imagine what goes on over there.
And so how are your grandparents doing?
I think they were relieved, that she was gone, because she was, a menace, and she was just so nasty to them too. She was just terrible. So I think once she went far, far away, they were happy. And she was diagnosed with cancer.
Your grandma?
My grandma, yeah. Not long after my dad had passed. I think she just took it so hard that she really suffered. So she was diagnosed with cancer and had, all of these health issues. And my uncle had gotten her this little wish box necklace And it's really just this tiny, tiny box, and you're supposed to write something on it and put it in there and then wear it. And whatever you wish for is supposed to come true. But she had written in there, Lord, forgive me for being blind to my son's cry for help. Keep me healthy enough to at least help raise his daughter until I graduate from high school. And that's exactly what happened, because I graduated in 2007, and in 2008 she had passed.
Oh my gosh, she loved you so much.
She did. She was great.
That note must mean so much to you. Do you still have it?
It does. I have it, and I usually keep it in my wallet, but it's starting to deteriorate, so I'm actually going to get it laminated. But I will take a picture and share that with you, because it is sweet and comforting.
Oh, that would mean so much.
Yeah, and it's nice to see her handwriting too. She had she wrote in cursive all the time, which I feel like is a lost art. So
right. I don't think they teach it anymore.
I don't think they do either, which is crazy. So yeah, it's really nice to have.
Do you ever look back and wonder why you stuck around with your mom for so long?
I do. Especially since my grandparents didn't last that much longer after I had graduated. I wish that I would have spent that quality time with them, learning more about them and their lives, instead of wasting it on somebody who didn't really care. They just saw me as, dollar signs.
Did you live with your grandfather after your grandma had passed?
I did, yep. And we became the best of friends. If there's anybody that I could have back for even just 5 minutes, it'd be him. He was really great.
What was the best thing about him that you remember?
He was just very patient and considerate, and he never lost sight of the things that he loved to do. He golfed 3 times a week. He would go fishing any chance that he could, and he was just very, very active. And maybe that's because he was bored after, my grandma died, or, he just needed something to do. But I think, even use my dad as an example, we did so much up until he got so infatuated with this woman, and he just cut out everything that he loved. He forgot who he was. And I think my grandfather, he never forgot that. He always did things for himself.
Your parents made it so hard for your grandparents, and your grandparents had such strong character.
Yeah.
And your grandfather, he's passed?
He's passed. He passed in 2013, a year before my daughter was born.
So he didn't get to meet her?
He did not get to meet her.
How did he pass?
He had this lump on his back, and he went to the doctor, and his doctor was like, Jim, if it's not bothering you, I wouldn't worry about it. So he didn't worry about it. And then it started to affect his golf swing. So he goes back to the doctor, and they cut it out, and they send it off for a biopsy, and the biopsy came back cancerous. But he had waited so long that it had spread just everywhere.
Oh
so,
gosh.
Yeah. So he, I feel like once he knew that he had cancer, I think it affected him, obviously, as it would for anybody. But I think he kind of just gave up, because I remember he would lay in bed and he would just be crying, begging God to take him. And, he doesn't want to suffer, and he doesn't want to be a burden to anybody. It was very hard, because my uncle, which is their other son, so it would be my dad's brother, he lives in Cincinnati, which was about 4.5 hours from where we lived. And we kept him home through like all of his chemo and blood transfusions, and we had like in-home health. It was very traumatizing for me to see him just kind of deteriorate before my eyes.
Oh, I'm so sorry, but it was a chance for you to give back.
Exactly. And I just remember being so frustrated because it's just me. You know, like the nurses would come 2-3 times a day, or if I would call them, they would show up. But like, I remember one of the very first nights that we made the executive decision to bring a hospital bed in, and he did not want that at all, because at the time he was still like getting up to use the bathroom himself and able to shuffle around the house the best he could. But I remember the bars just banging, and he was just trying to get out because he had to use the bathroom, and he didn't make it in time. And I'm just standing there like shocked and traumatized, and he's crying and I'm crying, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, so luckily, like I said, we had the home nurse, and she came and she cleaned him up, but it was so hard to be in that position and see all that. And I just remember being so frustrated because I'm like, I shouldn't have to necessarily deal with this. You know, why can't we put him somewhere that is going to help him more, like a nursing home?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so thankful that we didn't. And I look back now and, you know, I'm very grateful and happy and that I was able to be with him for those last couple months.
Well, you should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where did your mom end up? Are you guys still in touch?
No. She tries to pop in every once in a while, but I had changed my phone number a while ago, and I don't want anything to do with her.
Yeah, she's not a good influence in your life.
No, not at all.
You probably wouldn't trust her to be a grandma to your daughter.
No, she has said some really awful things after Sophia was born. Just outright nasty. And she's got 2 other kids. So I do have a half sister who has never spoken to her. And then I have a brother who is out there that we didn't even know existed until my mom's parents died and he was in the obituary. They named all the grandkids, and Shannon and I were like, who the heck is this guy? And he has like the most generic name. So my sister and I have tried to like talk about maybe trying to find him, but I don't even know where to begin. She just left him at the hospital, I guess, is the story.
Wow. So he's your mom's son?
Yes. So he would be my half brother.
Have you ever thought about doing an ancestry kit?
You know, I've thought about it, but I don't know. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, I know. Who knows what secrets you'll end up uncovering.
Right. We'll be back for part 2.
Plus, the other people need to have taken it also to be found.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantee that they would have done that.
Yeah.
Does anybody else know your secret backstory?
Only one person knows it in full, and that is my daughter's dad. That's it. There's people that know like bits and pieces of it, but I'm always a little hesitant just to kind of share some of the crazy stories.
I suppose you've learned some valuable parenting lessons from it.
Yeah, absolutely. What not to do.
Yeah. What did your daughter's father say when you revealed all this to him?
He was a little taken aback, I think, and the reason that I shared it with him is because there was this one time that my mom, she found out about Sophia and she wanted to meet her. And I just simply told her no. Like, I don't want you around me. I definitely don't want you around my child. And she just flipped the script so quick. And she was like, if I ever see you guys, I'm putting a bullet in between your eyes and I'm just doing all this, and just went totally off the handle, like in the matter of 5 seconds, which scared me because she's very unpredictable. I mean, clearly she has no shame. So I had to share, everything just in case we had this strange woman knocking on our door. And he's like, if I have anything to do with it, she will never meet Sophia. And that's fine because his family's great. And I was fortunate enough. My neighbors growing up are like mom and dad, and they have kids and grandkids. So she doesn't need my mother.
And I am sure that you are 1,000% committed to breaking the cycle with your daughter.
Oh, yeah.
But do you think, yeah, of course. But do you think you'll ever tell her that mommy knows how to melt crack and, you, my dear, will never learn that skill as long as I'm around?
I think it depends on how she grows up. If she tries to go down some wiggly path, I'll probably...
You'll whip that out of your back pocket?
Yeah, I'll share that with her, but not really by choice. Like, I won't sit her down and tell her this.
Yeah. So what is your cover story when people ask you where you're from or different aspects of your childhood? What do you say?
I just say my mom and dad got divorced when I was 4, and my mom disappeared, and my dad passed away when I was 11, and I was raised by my grandparents.
Yeah, end of story.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll push a little bit, or they'll be like, what happened to your dad? Or you don't.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely sounds like there's more to it,
yeah,
which there is.
Yeah. Or sometimes I'll get even just saying that, they'll be like, oh my gosh, you should write a book. And I'm like, no.
I'll just go on a podcast.
Yeah.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Why did you want to tell your secret?
I think that I've just held it inside for so long, and I have listened to every episode, and I have laughed with the people and cried with the people and been just as shocked as you. And they all seem to feel like this weight has been lifted after they share their secret. So I think that is the main reason, just to kind of feel a little bit lighter.
Just to put it out there.
Just to put it out there. But also, if I could help anybody, I could have been a very messed up individual. But I think that I've done pretty well for myself, and my head's on pretty much straight. So if there's anybody that's struggling or is unsure that they can do it by themselves, you definitely can. You just have to want to do it.
Angela's living proof.
Yeah, I'm living proof.
Well, I am very, very happy for you that things worked out.
Thank you.
And take care of that daughter of yours.
I will, for sure.
Good. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Ben.
Wow, how do you feel?
I feel great.
Good.
I'm a little sweaty, though. Well, I did say it was 67 degrees here. So
yeah, that is true. Feels like 72.
Feels like 72.
Do you feel like a weight has been lifted?
I do. I told Sophia's dad that I was doing this, and he was like, I think that's a good idea. He's like, I think that you just need to share it. Get it out there, because it's not really anything to be embarrassed of. I mean, yeah, it sucks, and I do feel a lot better, so I'm very happy that I stumbled upon you and your podcast, and it gave me an outlet.
Oh, well, me too. What a story. And how lucky was little Angela to have her grandparents watch over her? Do you think Angela might have any other siblings out there? And if so, do you think she should try to find them? And as for Angela's secret backstory, from bad parenting to scavenger hunts to melting crack, I understand why she would want to keep it a secret. And if there is one takeaway from Angela's secret, it's this. If you ever encounter a dead body in the bushes, think twice before you do anything. We've got pictures of Angela, her parents, and her grandparents on Facebook and Instagram.
And then I'll send you the wish box note, too.
Wow, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And you know this podcast is made possible by advertising, and I am so grateful to the wonderful brands that support us. But did you know that the gap is closed by a special team of listeners that collectively brings us over the finish line? And we thank that elite group of listeners with access to a little side project we call The Secret Room Unlocked. It's hosted by Susie Lark. She talks to your favorite guests for follow-ups, and she also features fresh secrets too. Here's what's next.
My guest Rose grew up in a country ruled by an authoritarian regime. To escape persecution, she tricked her dad into helping her flee. How she got out and why she would leave her family are a secret. Join me in 1 week on The Secret Room Unlocked. You can find a free trial on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and at patreon.com/secretroom.
Are you ready to share your secret with the world? Take that first step by clicking the Share a Secret button at secretroompod.com. Thanks to Luna Patel and Susie Lark for production support. Breakmaster Cylinder composed our music. You can read the tagline now if you like.
This is The Secret Room, a podcast about the stories no one ever tells.
Perfect. I'm going to say pot on to you.
Okay, all right.
Right.
Pot on. Okay, you go and then I go right after you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pot on, Angela.
Pot on, Ben.
Okay. That wasn't so bad.
No.
We'll be back in just 2 short weeks for another amazing secret. See you then. I'm Ben Ham.